Hello, hello, hello. Hello, powerful souls. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Wake Up Wednesday Live. My name is Laurie Majka. I'm the host of the Laurie Majka YouTube channel, where I primarily interview people who have had near-death experiences, spiritually transformative experiences, out-of-body experiences, channelers, mediums, you name it. If it's spiritual and it's going to help wake up the collective, I'm all in. So this live is about you. So welcome. First of all, give me a thumbs up in the comments if you're able to hear me. We had some problem last time and you guys could not hear me. And I just want to make sure that I am fully live. And I'm going to start it off. Not getting any feedback yet, but this show, this YouTube live is all about you. This is your chance to ask me any question you have. It can be spiritual topics. You can ask me about guests that I've had on the show. Oh, good. Thank you. Guests who I've had on the show. If you have questions about comments that have been made in the comments, if you have burning questions that you want my perspective on, I have been on the other side many times, and I do think I have a unique perspective. If it were not for those experiences on the other side, I would not be here doing this. I would not be here with you. I am 100% sure that never would have happened. So these experiences on the other side are life-changing, life-altering. And for those of us who are seeking, I think that we become a new person about every few months with everything that we're able to consume. We're lucky to be in an information age where this information is so readily available for you. You have so many outlets. You have streaming channels like Spotify. You've got Gaia TV producing all kinds of spiritual content. You have YouTube with so many different choices, Instagram, TikTok. Like, you can consume this in long parts and short parts. I really prefer the longer interviews, and that's why if you watch my channel for a while, you'll see that my interviews are usually somewhere between an hour and 15 minutes, because the thing that makes me a little bit different in how I do my interviews is because I've been on the other side, I want to ask the deeper questions. I tell every single one of my guests before we go on the channel that it is my intention to ask them questions that they have never been asked before. I believe when somebody's had an experience like a near-death experience, something that's spiritually transformative for them, not only have they had the experience, but they have wisdom that they've accumulated from having years and years to integrate this experience into their life, to navigate the world with this new knowledge and new information. And so they're holding these little gold nuggets. And if I can ask the deeper question, I can find those nuggets and I can take them and throw them to you. You can extrapolate that information to integrate it into your life in whatever way makes your life better. So that is why I have the channel. It's why I do what I do. And today is about you. So while I'm waiting for the comments to kind of warm up a little bit and for you guys to put your information in there, their questions that you want to ask me, please make sure if your YouTube channel name is not obvious, like your name is Bill and it says something totally different, please tell me what your name is. I want to get to know you. And I'm going to start it off with signs and synchronicities from that I've experienced since the last time we were together. Now, a lot of times I'll share my personal synchronicities, things that have happened in my life. But this time, the two synchronicities that I want to share are ones that happened during interviews in the last 2 weeks. The one that happened last week, I forgot to share on the live because I had so much going on in the live. And I had a really cool one that happened yesterday. So when I'm doing these interviews, I have a piece of paper in front of me and I have my phone. And on my phone, I set a timer so that I can make notes during the interview. I will, since I do my own editing, I'm deciding what I want the intro to be. Maybe something intriguing is said that I think can be a nice short. And so I'm making all these little notes and I'm asking, writing down questions. Well, yesterday I was interviewing a woman named Heather who had a near-death experience. Actually, she didn't just have one. She was in the hospital for 2 weeks and she clinically died several times. They had to bring her back. She said her hospital file was this big. It was just massive. And so she had all of these experiences. And what happens is I'm really paying attention to the guests and I'm paying attention to my piece of paper more than anything. But the way that I think that this works is that all of a sudden my attention is drawn to my phone. And what happened yesterday is that she said this word each prayer, and then my attention went to my phone and I looked and it was 1 hour, 11 minutes, and 11 seconds at the moment I glanced at it. But this was the full sentence she said. Each prayer is like a ball of light. It's like the angels are catching them to help us. And I just thought that that was insane. After she told me that, I told her what happened, and she explained to me that 1111 is her synchronistic number, and she has hundreds of pictures on her phone when 1111 came up during her healing after her near-death experience. It would be on receipts, it would be on, license plates and signs and all over the place. And so she has hundreds of pictures of 1111. So I had no idea that that was her number. But again, what a cool confirmation, but not just for her and for me, but for everybody watching, because there must have been some significance in what she said. Each prayer is like a ball of light. It's like the angels are catching them to help us. How beautiful is that? It was so special. I feel so lucky to be able to have these conversations and to notice the synchronicities and to be able to share them. So I always say my synchronicities confirm yours, yours confirm mine, because they don't happen in an isolated bubble. But I know not everybody in your life is someone that you can share a synchronicity with, because not everybody gets it. Not everybody is awake like you guys. So you're here, you're awake. I love it. And then I will share, this was pretty cool. Last week's synchronicity was similar, but a little bit different. I was interviewing a woman named Arthelia. I have to look at her name again. It's a little bit different name. Aurelia, something like that. I know I'm butchering it. But anyway, she had had not only a near-death experience, but then she had lost her partner. And her partner had begun sending her a lot of signs and synchronicities that he was with, letting her know that he was with her. And so she was talking. And at the moment that she said, I feel like his passing away was meant to be, the same thing happened. My attention was directed to the phone, but it was a little bit different number. It was 1 hour, 33 minutes, and 33 seconds. And my first thought was, oh, that's not significant. I like all the threes, but it didn't really mean anything to me. But because I was drawn to it, and it wasn't like I'd been just waiting for a synchronistic number to come up on my phone. I hadn't noticed my phone at all, other than, I'm just writing notes. I'm really not looking at the numbers. I'm paying attention. And I shared it with her, and I found out that 133 was her special number with her passed away loved one. Again, I can't make these things up. So, all right, I'm going to check in the comments. Let's see what you guys are talking about, what you want to hear. Matt says, can you tell us what you saw? You mean on the other side? Is that what you're asking me? My son is there right now, and it brings happiness to a sadness that doesn't go away. Okay. I've told this story a lot of times. So how about, rather than explaining it from my perspective, since I've interviewed over 400 people who have had these spiritually transformative experiences, not only that, I've watched, read, and listened to thousands of these NDEs. How about if I instead talk about the most common things that are said about the other side? And the reason I'm going to focus on that is because my experiences have just gotten deeper and deeper and deeper and less human. And I think that when we lose somebody on the other side, we think of them in the spirit form that was like their human form when they're there. And I do believe that that is definitely a realm that we experience as soon as we die, but it is just like, it's like okay, you know what? I'm going to explain it this way. I feel like when somebody dies, there are levels of dimensions and depth that isn't revealed right away. So if you're sleeping and you wake up, you know how you're kind of in that dream state, you're not quite awake and you're trying to process and remember, where am I? Was that a dream? Was that real? And you have to kind of integrate your surroundings to be like, oh, yeah, I'm in my bed or I'm in a hotel, not my house. And you have to kind of wake up to the reality that you're in. I think it's very much like that for spirits when they go to the other side. So when you die and your soul crosses over to the other side, I think there's an integration period because it would be unfair to probably rip off the Band-Aid and make you all part of the same collective as one entity remembering back. And I think they do it in stages. And it's kind of like when you walk into the ocean, you don't just step into the ocean generally and go, 9 feet and go underwater. You're ankle deep, and then you're calf deep, and then your knee deep, and then your thigh deep, and then maybe it's up to your waist. I think it's like that probably when we cross over. So, for somebody who has somebody on the other side and they're thinking of them in the spirit form that they are existing in that maybe ankle deep part of the heavenly realm, they experience, very first of all, almost every single person who's had an experience on the other side talks about a feeling of love that is unlike any love that they've ever experienced in their human body. And that is because when we cross over to the other side, we stop experiencing love. We don't experience it anymore. We become it because, in our essence, love is our state of being. It is not an experience. So, here, when we put our veil on to forget that we are this infinite soul that is love, we have a human experience and we experience the act of loving other people, our pets, places that we live, things that we have. Maybe you love the smell of the leather, new leather in your car. Maybe you love the taste of chocolate. Maybe you love your first cup of coffee in the morning. Maybe you greatly love people in your life, friends, acquaintances. We have all different types of love. But on the other side, it is our state of being. We do not love, we are that. And so when people cross over, the first thing they feel is this love that emanates throughout the entire plane of existence. It's palpable. And people say that it's almost ineffable, meaning they don't really have the right words because they've never had an experience that they can relate it to here, other than to say it's greater than, it feels greater than any other. The other thing that's super, super common is that time doesn't exist on the other side. So, one of the things that I will tell you, Matt, with your son on the other side, is that for your son, it feels like he saw you yesterday and it feels like he's going to see you tomorrow. They do not have a capability to miss anything. They're in a dimension where they can observe everything that's going on in your life. So they're with you. They feel like they're with you. They feel like they're walking next to you. They can hear every thought that you've ever said. They know every word that you think may have been left unspoken. They've heard it. And not only that, they've had a life review, which means they've relived every single moment that they've ever experienced on this earth from their perspective, and then they have become the other. So for your son, he would have relived his life from his vantage point, and then he would have become you. And so guess what? That means that now your son knows you better than he ever could have known you while you were here having an earthly experience with him. And he understands every interaction that you had. If there was anything where he got in trouble, He would understand every reason that you had to feel mad or upset. If he experienced love from you, he got to experience it again from your perspective. You know how I think when we have kids, we say to our kids, you just can't even understand how much I love you. You won't know until you have your own kids, right? It's that way on the other side, but he gets to reverse the role and be you and experience that massive love that you had for him. So, those are some of the things that happen when we leave the heavenly realm. So, we experience love because we become it. And then we also lose the sense of time. So for you, you're going to go on and live the rest of your life, which will seem like a long time. But for the loved ones that we have on the other side, they feel like they saw you yesterday and they will see you tomorrow. So it's a blink of an eye. And that's why when souls choose to incarnate on this earth, it doesn't, when we say we're going to do that from a soul perspective, we probably in some ways kind of forget how long 80 years can feel from this perspective, or 100 years. I talked to my uncle today who turned 95, and that's a long time to live a life. That's a long time to be on this planet. And I think we forget because from the other side's vantage point, this seems like a 10-minute trip that we've taken to have this experience. And so from the soul perspective, we take on all these things. Well, I'm going to have this loss and I'm going to have this tragedy happen. I'm going to have this amazing experience. I'm going to have this illness. I'm going to have this inequality. I'm going to have, whatever you've chosen, whatever you've put in your cart of experiences you want to have, because it changes your soul. I hate to use the word evolve because I don't feel like evolve is quite the proper word to use. I think gaining an experience is really a better term to use because you're an infinite being, massively powerful, and you've just forgotten that. But maybe we refine things when we come here and have different experiences. So I know that was I always say this, that was a long answer to your question, but man, I could go on and on and on about all of this stuff about what I've studied and what I think about and conversations I've had and experiences I've listened to. It's immensely beautiful. This is why I do this. This is why I have this channel, so I can share all of these experiences and ask some of these questions to hopefully help you either have a new perspective that helps you to lessen the sadness, lessen the pain that you have to go through when we've had a loss. It never goes away. It will never go away, but it can change when you understand certain things and when you can release things about around somebody's death. I think a lot of times when we lose somebody, part of the pain and suffering is as much losing them as it is torturing ourselves with thoughts of, I could have done this, I should have done this, I would have done this differently, and then ruminating over them for months, years, decades, punishing ourselves, second guessing ourselves. But another truth that I've learned in talking to so many people who've had near death experiences is the understanding that nobody dies before their time. If it's not their time, they have a near death experience and come back. Now, I don't believe that everybody who dies, like if somebody has a heart attack and they die and go to the other side and they come back and they're like, I got gypped. I didn't have a near death experience. It doesn't mean that they didn't have an experience. They just didn't have an experience that they were allowed to bring back to remember. And that's probably by design by themselves. Because if you have certain experiences that you're going through, when you have that near death experience or a chance to go to the other side, maybe there's something about remembering that would change how you were going to conduct your life when you come back in a way that doesn't set you up for certain experiences. So I do believe that this is by design, and by design by you, because you are ultimately the higher power, which is source, having an experience of everybody watching this. So, okay, Matt, I hope that helps you a little bit. Okay, it looks like I have Brent. I'm not sure, but I felt like I was just about to leave my body this afternoon and I jolted back. I think we've all probably had that experience when you're falling asleep and all of a sudden you jolt back. I do think that we definitely can travel, astral travel, leave our body. We're corded to our body. We're not really going anywhere unless we die in our sleep. But I think that we have that experience. I too have had experiences like that, like really big ones where I was like, that was a little different than the normal, just a jolt. It felt more significant. So in your brain, the pineal gland produces DMT, which they have studied. And Dr. Rick Strassman, who you'll hear me talk about, who wrote a book called, its book is called The God Molecule. And it's all about DMT and the studies that he did in a clinical setting for 20 or 25 years. I had the privilege of meeting him a few years ago, and I too have experienced 5-MeO DMT many times. And what they believe is that when your body releases DMT, that is when the soul either enters the body, leaves the body, or at nighttime when you're sleeping, they do believe that trace amounts are released, which allows you to leave the body and have these astral travel experiences. So, yes, absolutely possible, Brent, that that would have happened to you. No doubt. Okay, let's see. Hi, Donna. Thank you for joining. Oh, I'm glad you found that. I know that you lost your son too. So I know that that's why you're on this channel, because that's usually the losses are what open us up. So, isn't it interesting? I've talked to so many people who have felt that a big loss is a major catalyst in their life. And for me personally, I lost my great love, Mark, who was my greatest spiritual teacher in 2012. And I was already on a spiritual path. I had read books by many authors like Edgar Cayce, and I really, really dove in and began searching in earnest. I started consuming many books a month, trying to get more answers about what happened with this person when they died. And I consumed medium books like by the dozens. And I love a good medium because a good medium can produce evidential evidence when presented to you may make no sense at all to the medium, but for you in context may make a world of sense and be something that nobody else even knows about. And that's what we call evidential evidence, where you are given a piece of evidence that somebody could not have known. And I think that as we get more and more into technology, it's going to be harder and harder for you to believe in evidential evidence. And that's one of the things I love about videos like this that live on for a long time, because this is proof before AI that people were having these experiences that were evidential. And as the internet is so accessible to everybody, and people post a lot of things about their lives online in Instagram, on YouTube, in Facebook, and all these different places, it becomes harder and harder to believe something that somebody tells you is really and truly coming from a place outside of them and not from something that they could have looked up. Now, don't get me wrong. I think there are absolutely charlatans out there, people who have decided that they're going to take advantage of information to be able to make money off of people who are in a place of sadness and loss, and they take advantage of that. And that's too bad. But this is why it's really important to vet people, to talk to people who have had actual experiences with some of these mediums, so that you know that they actually have the gift of mediumship and not just the gift to deceive. So, just my 2 cents on that part. Okay, let's see. Matt says, "This was the absolute best perspective I've ever heard." Oh, I love that you said that. Well, if you want to go a little bit deeper, a couple of lives ago, I talked about my 3-movie trilogy theory. It's interesting. Like I said, these experiences really build on each other, especially my psychedelic experiences out of body. They've gotten deeper and deeper over time. I have done 24 of these journeys now over an 8-year period. And it's incredible to look back. I journal ferociously after each one of these because I do it with the same day. I make sure that my journaling happens the same day because I don't want to misremember these experiences. And a lot of times they're hard for me to even write about because as I've had more of them over time, they've become less and less human and less a quality that I can write about. But when we take the time to actually document things for ourselves, it really helps. And the reason that the three trilogy movie theory came about is because I was having a hard time at one point in time reconciling all of these different experiences. So, how could somebody who had a near death experience say, I had a heavenly experience? I came out of my body. I went through a tunnel. I was in a grassy realm where the grass was alive, and I was telepathically communicating with the grass and the tree that was there. And I saw these crystal buildings, and then I saw a figure that was a spirit guide who looked like a man and was wearing this clothing. Or I had an encounter with Jesus who had these blue eyes that were so deep I could see the universe in them and was wearing these clothing. Or I saw my passed away loved one and they looked like they were in their 30s. Like, how do you reconcile that experience, but then an experience where somebody goes into a place that they call the black void or the black velvet void, or the place where all creation begins, the place of limitless possibility where they understand their thoughts could create a mind of source, having these experiences where they're creating everything, created this world and everything on it. And it's not like it's creating it outside of itself, it's creating it inside of itself. It is all of it. So, how do those two things reconcile? Or how do I further reconcile when I've become the collective? Or I've become the source of everything and understood there was nothing outside of that experience. It was all. It was, and it's just so hard to reconcile. And that's where I have understood now there are different dimensions, depths of reality. And the mind of source is infinitely intelligent. Okay, I'm going to explain it this way. For those of you who don't know, I have been in technology for 20 years. I've worked for companies like IBM and Hewlett Packard. I work for a technology company right now, and we sell AI. It's one of the things that I work with. And I started using AI personally with ChatGPT back in January of 2024. So I've been using it for a long time. I use it every single day. I use it to edit and to do a lot of things in my life, to automate things in my life. So things are changing very quickly. And for most of us, the people who are on this channel are usually 40 years and older. You remember a time when technology was not a part of your life. The closest you came to technology was having a phone on a wall with a cord that tethered you to it, that didn't even have an answering machine at that time. Like, we could go anywhere and play, and we had to wait for the street lights to come on, and that was our signal to come home. Or somebody had a bell that was rung that you could hear for miles that would call you back, right? That's how we grew up. But now technology has changed so rapidly, it's almost hard for us to understand because technology changed quickly. Like, I can think back to the 80s when I was in high school and I had a computer that had a list of things you had to do to turn it on. And now you just push a button and everything is automatic. Remember when we had internet and we didn't even know what a www was? Remember in 2007 when you probably received your first text message? Like, the information on our phone, the technology on our phone is supposed to be superior to some manned space flights that took place back in the 60s. Okay. So, in saying all of that, you probably in your lifetime have experienced technology over time. Let's talk about AI and about what's coming, because I think that this is this is going to help you. I'm going somewhere with this because I'm going to get back to the source being and the infiniteness of it with this explanation. Okay. All right. AI technology. Um, a few months ago, when I would tell this story, AI and its ability was doubling about every 6 months. Okay. So it's changing very quickly. Let's talk about the average human intelligence. So the average human in the United States has an IQ of about 100. Somebody who you would consider mentally challenged would probably have an IQ of about 70. And somebody like Einstein, although he was never formally documented, they guess that his IQ is somewhere around 180. So we have about 80 basis points of difference between an average intelligent American and an Einstein. Okay, 80 basis points. Think about what Einstein was responsible for. He was a quantum scientist. He was working on technology that, because of the technology, we have GPS today. He was part of the atomic weaponry and the bomb that went off in Japan. And he was responsible for all kinds of theories that people have been able to stand on his back that have brought so much technology that allowed these computers and this technology to be possible. That's 80 basis points, okay? Right now, is AI as intelligent as we are? No, it's not. I work with it all the time. I know I don't have the best version of it. There are definitely better iterations of it that I don't have access to, even with my paid ChatGPT subscription, but it messes up a lot. And I have to really refine the instructions I give it to keep it on task to do what I want it to do. But it is doubling in its ability, I believe now, every 3 months, not every 6 months. And that's without improvement, which is a big assumption because there's no way this is happening in a box without improvement. It's happening with improvement. So if we're now doubling our ability of AI compared to us every 3 months, how long before that technology is doubling in its knowledge every month, and pretty soon every week, and pretty soon every day, and pretty soon every hour? It is not going to be 80 basis points smarter than we are. It's going to be hundreds, and then thousands, and then probably millions of basis points smarter than a human. For those of you who know Ray Kurzweil's work, he's still alive. He is a futurist with, I think, a 90% accuracy in his predictions. And he's been talking about a time when machines will be indistinguishable from humans, when you will be interacting with the machine and you will not be able to ascertain if it's a person or if it's not. And something big that just happened with AI is in its last update, it updated itself without any human interaction. So we're getting really close to what they call the singularity, which Ray predicted would happen somewhere between, I think, 1932 or 2032 and 2040, maybe. I think it's going to happen sooner. I think that they've pulled that date back. But what we're going to be experiencing is going to be incredible. Well, if we're talking about AI and the things that AI can do with hundreds or thousands of basis points, imagine a being that is billions, and I'm probably understating it, maybe trillions, and I can't even conceive of a trillion. I can barely conceive of a billion. We have 8 billion specks of humans on this planet right now, but that's a big number to wrap your head around. Probably the mind of source creator is billions of iterations smarter than a human. And so what we think that we understand with the heavenly realm, with the collective realm, is probably very, very short of what really exists. What is the base reality? I don't know. Matt, when you asked about your son being on the other side, one other thing I wanted to say that is very, very common in just about every experience somebody talks about on the other side, they'll say that that experience when they left their body and had a heavenly realm or an experience in the void, it's more real than this. They liken, so that you can understand it, the human experience to a dream. The human experience seems infinitely more real than your dream. I mean, I know some of you probably have super vivid dreams, but for the average person, not having a super vivid human dream, they're definitely less real feeling than the real experience where I'm touching the microphone and I'm hugging somebody and I'm tasting something and I'm smelling something and I'm feeling the warmth of the sun on my skin. Every person, and I'm going to include myself in this, when I'm on the other side, it is indescribably more real feeling than this, more awake. Like you are so awake. Your vision is different. Everything about that experience is different. And I'm going to read something in a little bit after I go back to the questions again, because I've fallen in love with a new book and I can't get enough of it. And I've written down some things and I wanted to share one part of it. It might be too much for a lot of you. So maybe it's just enough that you're going to hear a part of this. I want to interview this man so badly, but he's declined to be interviewed because he's super busy with some other projects he's working on. But I'm going to come back to that in a little bit. But his descriptions in the book that I read about what it's like on the other side in his 75 experiences there are just mind boggling to really just give you a picture, a glimpse of what this unknown other side is like. I think it's just iterations of depth and complexity that we'll never, from our human perspective with the human mind, because we're not designed to remember all that. We're here to have a very specific experience that actually helps the entire collective. And that's why it's so important right now for you guys to be here, for you guys to watch these videos of these experiences, for you to be moved by somebody's near-death experience or somebody's experience with something on the other side and to share it with somebody else, because we are going to wake the collective up. It's going to happen. It's a predestined part of this earthly game. It's definitely coming. And it doesn't take the entire planet to wake up. It just takes a percentage. It's not a set percentage. It depends a lot on circumstances, but I've seen 10% to 25% of the collective. That's all we need to flip the whole. And it's going to happen really fast when it goes. It's going to be astonishing to everybody. And there are going to be a lot of people who have never even had thoughts about what more there is. They're just living their human life. But for you guys, you're awake and you're here and you get it and you understand that there is so much more going on. There you are so much. Every one of you watching, you are so much more than the human body that you think you're incarnated in. You are a magnificent, beautiful, eternal, expansive soul that is beyond your comprehension. Whatever you've probably thought of when you've thought of an entity like God or Jesus, or name any entity on the other side, Buddha, whatever it is, that's you. Because what the other being that you're thinking of is, you cannot conceive of in your human mind. I would have no idea. It's why when I come back from these journeys, they're hard to talk about, because I don't have anything I can latch onto that's like, oh, it's like this. I can just use analogies. And I think that's why the Bible was probably full of analogies when Jesus talked, because what he understood was so hard to explain to people in anything other than analogies, especially back then before technology and you had all the access to this information that you have now. I'm so glad to be living now in this earthly incarnation right now. Okay, I'm going to go back to the comments a little bit. Thank you everybody again for being here. I'm so blessed to be able to have these conversations with you guys, and I am looking forward to a day when it's not just through text messages that you're writing, and when you actually can talk and I can see your faces and be on camera. I will be working on that over the summer. Okay, so let's see, this person didn't say their name, and I'm not sure what your name is, but I feel as if I've died and I'm in my life review sometimes because I feel everyone's pain too. So there is a word for that, and it's called an empath. There are a lot of people who have come into this lifetime where they are more sensitive to other people because we're all energy beings. So there are certain faculties within your body that are turned on that maybe you're not turned on either or turned up as much in other people that allow you to feel emotions and energy from other people. I think for somebody who's an empath, it's often difficult because when it first starts to happen, you may not have had a label for it and you may have thought, this is crazy. Why am I so upset? I wasn't upset. And it doesn't feel like it's your emotion because it probably wasn't. You're picking up somebody else's emotions. You probably can walk into a room with a lot of people, like a concert or some venue or a restaurant, and you can probably feel the energy of the room. And every room has a signature with the people that are there and the people who have been there, and you are sensitive to energy. So, yeah, I could understand how it could also feel. Let me know if that was kind of addressing what you were saying, or if you really and truly feel like you're seeing glimpses of a life review during the day too. That's a little bit different maybe than what I just explained. But yeah, everybody's waking up and our sensitivities are going to become more acute. We're definitely going to become more online because we will realize, especially as more people wake up, how connected we are to one another. Not like, oh, kumbaya, let me touch you and you're like me. It's you are me. You're just looking out of different eyes than I'm looking out of, but we're the same. And that's why I say when you do something to one, you're doing it to yourself in the most literal sense of that. Okay, let's come back to these comments. My husband's name was Mark. It means the rock, his name. Well, that's interesting. My Mark was a rock star. He was actually the lead guitarist of the band Starship. I love that. Tammy, oh, thank you. Tammy, thank you so much for your support. I so appreciate you being here. You comment on every video. I think you watch every video like you're a superstar. Thank you. Thank you. Donna, you too. Um, Laughing your ass off, average human intelligence, right? Um, Satnam. What does Satnam mean? Satnam. I'm not familiar with that term. Okay, Per Bashar. So Bashar, for those of you who don't know, is a channeler. And he said, this is the dream, and the other side, it is what is truly real. Yes, so many people say that. Channelers, near-death experiencers, astral travelers, definitely. Much more life on the other side, more there than here. Absolutely. There may be for experience here may be for experiences which can raise your awareness. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Tammy said, what percentage do you think it'll take? So I think I addressed it. I had a conversation with ChatGPT about this yesterday because I remember when I was creating those videos, Uncover Your Soul's Purpose, I remember coming across a study, and I wanted to say it was like Stanford or somebody. They had done a study, and it was a scientific, like a randomized double blind study to see what influence a portion could have on the whole. And the number that I just remember that I haven't gone back to look up and I can't find again was 21%. But again, in the conversation I had, it said it was very dependent on the circumstances and what you're talking about for changing the collective, but somewhere around 10 to 25%. So this is good news. So if we have 8 billion people on the planet, 4 billion people to change the collective, we only need 2. That's really good news. That's definitely seems more feasible, doesn't it? And I think that the more and more people find this and the more that they remember and they wake up, then the faster it's all going to happen. And it's definitely ripe for it right now. I mean, I've been talking about this in those videos I did. I started talking about this publicly 4 years ago about the collective. The guy that I'm going to read a little excerpt from his book today, He saw that the collective was going to change 30 years ago in an experience he had on the other side. 30 years ago, he saw this coming, and he called it the Great Awakening 30 years ago. So this is in the collective for sure. This is not an accident. This is not hyperbole. This is, I really do believe, part of the Earth experience game that we are here playing. Is that part of the objective of the game is to wake up and remember who you are, what you are. Okay, let's see. Donna said, I can't wait to hear the name of the book you're reading. I know, I'm holding it. I kind of want to give it out, also kind of don't, because it's just, I don't know. I don't know what if people are going to think I'm crazy when they hear what this book is that I'm reading. Tammy says, imagine if each one of us here listening to our Julie actually took the time to make another person smile, or took time to listen to a stranger who needed an ear. Just imagine. Well, I feel like do you guys feel like this? The more you listen to near death experiences where somebody's had a life review, every single time I hear about a life review, it makes me pause. It makes me think about, can I approach something with more love? Am I being as kind as I can be? Am I showing up in the best version of myself? We can't do it all the time. It's such a high bar, but man, like, what a reminder to show up and do the best that you can do, right? Yeah, I know you guys are agreeing with me. We're here for soul growth, goes quicker here than the other side per Bashar. Okay. I am going to agree and disagree. So, can more than one thing be true? Okay. So, in the Earth trilogy experience, movie trilogy number 1, the first movie that comes out, the one that has the least information in it, I do believe that there is an aspect of the soul that is going through growth. Okay, I can get behind that. I understand that. It makes sense. And I have over time gotten away from saying that as much, and I have talked more about we're here for the experience, because there are just aspects to that growth part that I don't fully understand because of my experiences on the other side, and experiencing the expansion of the soul. Like when I leave my human body and I'm on the other side and I'm this being that has no human qualities to it that I'm aware of. It wouldn't look human if I could see it. It is so expansive, so much bigger than the human body. It has this love and understanding and access to knowledge that you just can't imagine. And I don't mean knowledge like equations or understanding quantum physics. I mean knowledge beyond knowledge. There's different kinds of knowledge that are on the other side that we don't have here. We wouldn't even understand. So, from that perspective, how can that soul be here for growth when it's connected to the collective and connected to the source of everything? I have heard people talk about source is here as you and me having an experience because it's growing. It wants to understand through experience what it is not. And here's where I have a problem with that. Not that I am right. Again, take in what resonates with you. If this doesn't, leave it behind. Maybe it's never for you. Maybe it's just not for you right now. I don't know. It is really hard for me to say that source needs anything. As soon as it had the thought to create the world, there was nothing it didn't understand and know. Remember going back to those basis points of intelligence. If something is a billion basis points more intelligent, did you ever see the movie Lucy? There's a movie called Lucy. There's the main character, Lucy, has a drug that is actually for human growth development. I can't remember the name of it. And it's implanted in her, it's sewn into her to be smuggled. And when they kick her, it causes a tear in the medicine and it goes into her system. And then she changes and she's able to sense energy and see the energy flowing through trees. And she can do all these things. And she can have access to every single memory she ever had. And she calls her mom and says, I can feel every single kiss that you ever planted on me. I can even taste the breast milk that I drank when I was a tiny infant. And then she has access to all this knowledge. She can heal any wound. She can stop a bullet and make it drop. And that's what we would consider like a super intelligence. And for her, as she's having this experience and she's thinking about what she was before, it's got to be laughable, the difference. So again, from a source perspective, I don't think that there's anything source doesn't already know, understand, lack, need to know more. If you have eternity, I mean, eternity, like really think about eternity. Think about it in the context of your life. Think about eternity as, let's say that you're going to live 80 years on this planet. 80 years times 360 days. That's a lot of days, right? I can't do that math in my head. Somebody else do it for me. That's a lot of days. And if I were to say to you, okay, on day 785, what were you doing? You'd be like, and you'd have a hard time unless it was a milestone, like you got married or your child was born or you graduated from college or you got your first job or had your first kiss. You're probably not going to remember that random day. That's what eternity is on a infinite being that doesn't have a beginning or an end. This earth experience is just a blip in that. I'm not saying that it's not important. I believe the earth experience is done for very important reasons, but I think ultimately it is a massively complex game that source plays over billions of years for the joy of the game. Just like how you would go to amusement park for the joy of the amusement park. And I know this is probably getting super, super, super deep. And I know sometimes I probably lose people when I go this deep in this stuff. But these are the things that I'm thinking about. These are the things that I'm talking about to, my friends after I've had these experiences, and the people who, can have these conversations, because it's so deep. We just can't even, we can just like touch little glimpses of it. We have little tastes of it. And this is why I love having this YouTube channel, because this is so outside the norm of what we experience on our day-to-day living as we're getting up, going to work, going to the store, going to our kids' games, playing with our grandchildren, going to dinner, making dinner, shopping, like all the things that we do in this life. They're all a blessing. They're all important. They're all wonderful. They're all part of the experience. But man, I really love having these conversations about, why are we really doing this? Why are we here? And obviously you do too, or you wouldn't be here. Okay. Oh, I see. Oh, that's okay. I get it, Tammy. Donna. Hi, Donna. Oh, I'm so glad you're here. Let's see. I'm going to go back a little bit. I don't want to miss anything. Okay. You didn't say your name, so I'm not sure what your name is, but hi, Laurie. Quick question. What are your thoughts about karma, incarnation? Are they real? Is someone who is naughty in a life, does he have to come back to balance it out? Okay, I talked about this in the last live, so I'm just going to talk about it really briefly. If you go back to last week's live, I really should run the script through AI so I can put chapters in it. I just haven't had time to do that this week. But karma, I believe, is very simply cause and effect. I do think that part of the game is that you build on the past lifetimes, which actually is kind of a misnomer because everything's happening at once. But we build on our lifetimes, probably take from future, take from past. I think we've been everything. We have been rich and poor. We have been the villain. We have been the hero. The hero. We have played every single role that you can think of. And maybe not even just human roles, maybe animals and all kinds of, maybe you were a tree, maybe you were a hawk. You could have been so many things. Why not? You're all of it. So this karma balancing out, I have a problem a little bit with that, because I feel like karma is to spirituality what hell is to religion. They have turned it into something that is, karma's a bitch, It's going to get you. The closest we come, I think, to what people would label as karma is in your life review. You are your higher self having the life review experience, and you relive every life, every moment from your life as you. And then you switch roles and you become the person who you were having an experience with and an engagement with, whatever you were interaction with, you are doing that and you are them. Not only that, if you did something that was bad, so let's say like my friend Jeremiah, he talks about this in his near death experience. He had a life review where he was 13 and he was in a tough neighborhood and he just decided to randomly beat the ever living shit out of another kid. And in his life review, he is himself on top of the kid, beating the kid up. And then all of a sudden, he is the kid and he feels the bewilderment, the surprise, the shock, the shame that he's going to have to go home to tell his parents that he's been beat up. He also then becomes the parents because the mother was having a really hard time with raising her child in this rough neighborhood. And now she's going to be more of a helicopter parent after this experience. And what he was shown was in this kid's blueprint of experiences that he brought into this lifetime, some of them got crossed off because of this interaction where he beat him up, because now the kid becomes more introverted. And so some of these experiences were going to require a less introverted version of himself to have. And so now, sorry, those are off the table. You're not going to have them. So we see through cause and effect what our impact is on another, what our ripple effect is, not on just the person that we swore and flipped off in the car, but we experience that caused them, because they were already upset about other things, to go home and kick their dog and get over mad at their child over something that they would have hardly been mad at had they not had that experience. There's a real ripple effect. And I think that intention counts. So when we do things with intention, when we do things by accident, I think that counts. But all karma is just experiencing cause and effect. I don't think it's a punishment. If you've listened to these NDEs, you will hear over and over again when they have these life reviews, I was not judged. I may have had a spirit guide standing next to me. They were not judging me. I may have had my entire soul collective watching this experience with me, but they were not judging me. I may have had God with me or Jesus with me. They were not judging me. So to say that somebody has to come and balance out karma, I don't know if we have an accurate understanding of karma from that sense. I don't feel that that is the full revelation of what karma is. So I don't know if that answered your question, but that's kind of my, 5 cents on karma. Okay, let's see. I'm going to go back to the questions. As soon as I get done with the questions, I'm going to read and talk about that book really quick, and then I'll end it. We're at almost 1 hour, and I try and keep these to an hour just to be respectful of your time too, because it is a Wednesday night for a lot of you, and you have other things to do and, things to complete before you probably have to go to bed. Let's see. I've been following you for almost 2 years. Oh, thank you, GH1469. Please put your name in these comments. Thank you so much. I'm so happy that you've been here for 2 years. That touches my heart. That makes me so happy. I have listened to most of your content and you have been pivotal for my, okay, you're gonna make me cry. Like, seriously, much love to you. Much love back. Like, thank you. It makes me want to cry because you are me and I am you. And because of some of the paths that I've taken and the experiences that I've had have just propelled me to do this. And this channel is such a labor of love. For those of you who don't know, I probably spend 35 hours a week on this channel. I do the editing. I've produced almost 600 videos. I interview 5 people a week right now, which is a lot. And I have a full-time corporate job. So I don't have a lot of free time to do things. I do hike every single day because I have to stay healthy and strong. And I love to hike, and I hike with my best friend. And I'm just so lucky to live here. But when somebody tells me that I'm a part of their awakening, like, what an honor. What an honor to have been chosen to, somebody to follow. Thank you. It means an awful lot. Thank you very much. Please tell me your name. Donna says hello to everybody. Okay, I'm further back up. These don't stay with me when I'm moving them. By the way, Laurie, I watched your interview with Jeff Maria's channel. Oh my gosh, that was so long ago, you guys, when I was on Jeff's show. So Jeff Mara is Jeff and his wife Mara. I don't know who does the editing anymore, but for years, Jeff would do one interview a day, and Mara would edit all of them. And I was on Jeff's show like over 4 years ago. Jeff had like 6,000 followers when I was on his show. And when I found his show, I don't know, maybe like 2 months before I was on his show, he had so little content. I watched every single video on his channel, and I love him so much. He's so funny. But oh my gosh, I think back to that interview so long ago. I wonder if what I said then, because that was probably 10 journeys into my 5-MeO DMT, which is now like at 24. I know it's probably, again, I'm probably a whole new person many times over in the last 4 years. So, oh, that's so funny. Okay. Love the movie Lucy. Yes, it's such a great one. If I did a really cool video. Hardly anybody watched it, and I put a ton of time in the editing, and I could never monetize it because I actually used movie clips. But I put my top 10 favorite spiritual movies that have moved me and changed me over time, and Lucy's on that list. There's some really good ones: Defending Your Life, Map of Tiny Perfect Things, Groundhog Day, Interstellar. There's a whole bunch of movies, but I love that video. It was so fun to do, and I wish more people would have watched it for the time I spent creating it. But again, people get whatever they need, right? That's really how this works. Okay, let's see. People are saying they're talking about the movie, The Brain She Unlocks. Yeah, exactly. Okay, looking forward to hearing about your new plans for expanding your channel. No pressure, but I'm sure it will be embraced. Sign me up. Oh my gosh, Tammy, I have so many things I'm going to do over this summer. I'm having a very amazing conversation with a really close friend. I'm going to Costa Rica. I will not be doing a live the first week of May because I will be in Costa Rica with one of my friends who is turning 50 and his fiance, and he is like a super AI person and like an expert marketer, and he's creating these agents to help me automate things on my channel, and I'm getting ready to build this platform and do all these things. He's going to help me with a bunch of things. So I'm so excited about what's coming on this channel and how I can work with you guys more, connect with you more, give you just accelerated content. I talked to Heather Tesh today. This is not by any means final, but Heather and I are talking about potentially doing a consciousness conference on 11/11. It would be online, but one of the fears, of course, that we both have is like, would we line all these people up and then we wouldn't have enough people to really support who we would have to pay to be on there, and whatever expenses we'd have to build it, and because we know other people who have had to cancel theirs. So I don't know. Would you guys attend something like that? I feel like there has to be more than just you're watching somebody who's told a story that you've heard before. It has to be deeper. It has to be just something more. Okay. And I need to start wrapping this up because I know we're after the hour. Super deep is great. Oh, thank you, Donna. 5:55. I love it. According to Dolores Cannon, we have been everything. Yes, absolutely. Love Dolores Cannon. What a wonderful woman before her time, right? You're saying, I love your channel. You're so sweet and respectful and helpful. I feel your heart. Oh, thank you. That means so much. Thank you so much. I think they still do it that way. I feel the same, Laura. You've been a huge part of my awakening also. You have no idea. Thank you, Donna. Great interview with Jeff Mara. That was 9. Oh, darn it. I just did something to the comments. I highlighted them somehow. I couldn't read them. Let's see here. Love your channel. I think they still do it that way. Part of my awakening. Great interview. It was 9-minute interview. I like the last Mimsy. Oh, I love the last Mimsy. That is such a great, I love that. That one scene is how the world would appear to me in my first few 5-MeO DMT journeys. Count me in for 11:11. Okay, I love it. People are, and you're leaving. Okay, random statement. I love how the Blaze looks at you at the end of your video. Oh, I know. Isn't she so cute? I'll call her in a second. She'll come and say hi. All right, the last thing I'm going to do, I'm going to talk about this book really quick and I'm going to read. It's just a really short, like, it's just like 2 paragraphs. So stick around for just 5 more minutes and I will explain what this is. Okay, I'm going to read a little excerpt out of a book called LSD and the Mind of the Universe by Dr. Christopher Beisch. He is a professor. He is an accredited professor who did 75 high dose LSD experiences over 20 years. I mean, these are a massive commitment, 8-hour journeys with so much trauma that he was processing. But he talked about some things, and I'm just going to read this because I think this is so incredibly beautiful. Okay, are you ready? The essence, this is after one of his sessions, and he said, the essence of the teaching was this: we are self generating fields of energy in a living universe. We generate energy by making choices, and the universe responds to this energy. Thus, in complex and subtle ways, we are always creating our own experiences. I saw this feedback working on several levels simultaneously. Some cycles took minutes, some years, some lifetimes. We control the flow of energy out from and back into our lives. What comes to us from without originates from within. The more one moves towards one's center and engages the deeper levels of one's conditioning, the more one becomes conscious of being the source of one's experience. If my energy is clear, my experiences will be clear. Only by reaching one's core can one become complete, unconditional, and free. So, Blaze, here. Come here, girl. Calling her in. Here she comes. She was sleeping. Come here, my girl. Oh, come here. This is my girl, Blaze. Oh, she's so cute. She's 1. She's a big girl now. She is, oh my gosh, she's the cuddliest dog. I had a breeder who told me about these German short-haired pointers that if they could crawl into your soul, they would. And that is her. She is my partner. She sits here, she lays here and sleeps beside me. She hikes with me every day. She's amazing. I'm so lucky. I'm so lucky. And I'm so lucky to have you guys here with me. You guys, thank you so much. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy, busy schedule. I know it is an effort probably for you to set aside an hour to have these conversations, to commune with each other. But the energy here, like, we've got to be connected in this, like a way that we can't even understand. I'm going to remind you again, you are a powerful, magnificent, beautiful, eternal being of love. The power and magnificence that you are, you will probably not understand until you are out of this human body and on the other side. And so, because you are here right now, watching this and rewind, I want to say to you, thank you. Thank you for every act of kindness. Thank you for every thought of kindness. Thank you for everything that you are doing to wake up the collective. It takes all of us. And I so appreciate every effort that you are making to be part of this great awakening because it is so needed right now. Oh, and by the way, one last thing, I have created, I shared it last time, but I've created more merchandise. I have some super cool, fun things. I'm going to be launching my store. I hope this sometime this week. It'll be on my YouTube. You have at the top, you can see videos, playlists, posts. There's all kinds of things, and it's going to have a store. And so I'm going to have some things that I think you guys are really going to love. None of it's going to have my name on it. It's all going to be about you and waking up the collective and what we're doing here. So thank you. Thank you so much for your support. And I love every one of you and sending beautiful energy. Have a wonderful week, and I will see you next week. Thank you.